Ready to shine inside out? Welcome to Polished Beauty Podcast, where ambition meets empowerment. We talk business, beauty, brain, body. I am your host, Dr. Daisy Aim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon and OBGYN. Let's get polished.
A moment of Zen on 710 WOR, the voice of New York iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Today, in our Expert on the Microphone series, in the Polished Beauty segment, we're taking a closer look at women's wellness, a conversation that's long overdue in a way that speaks to women that actually need it, rather than the conventional narratives that sometimes just totally miss the mark. Menopause and female wellness are often talked about as if they're delicate issues to tiptoe around, but our guests today are rewriting that story. Lana Kerr, founder and CEO of CO2 Lift, is breaking barriers with a non-invasive and non-hormonal approach and rejuvenation solutions that restore confidence in women at every age. Dr. Divaraniya is the data-driven visionary behind Oova. She's transforming hormone health management with actionable insights women can access right at home. And joining them is my contributor and expert on the microphone, Dr. Daisy Aim. She's a triple board certified OBGYN and cosmetic surgeon who bridges beauty and wellness, showing us just how powerful and interconnected these fields can be. Let's get real, let's get scientific, and let's bust some myths around female wellness and sexual health. Welcome to the show, my dear friends.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so excited. Let's jump right in. Lana, I'm going to start with you. So you're the mind behind CO2 Lift vaginal rejuvenation treatment, which uses carboxytherapy to rejuvenate the skin and the skin down there without invasive procedures. And so many women feel like they have to choose between aging gracefully or battling wrinkles with drastic measures and even dryness down there. So can you tell us why you believe non-hormonal treatments are the future of skincare and why you chose carboxytherapy as your focus?
Yes, thank you, Zen. I believe that regenerative medicine is the way of the future. More and more people are looking for ways to allow their own bodies to heal themselves. And carboxytherapy is a new category in this area. It's new to the United States, even though carboxy has a long history. This application and delivery system, because it's a gel, has so many different indications and can be used in so many different places on the body, the face, the body, and as you mentioned, the vulva-vagina. So I'm really excited about that.
So with so much demand for safer, non-invasive options, I imagine you'll have some inspiring insights on how this approach is really changing the skincare industry. So I can't wait to keep following up. Now, Dr. Amy, what inspired you to create Oova, and how is this giving women more control over their health journeys?
So I actually went through a pretty devastating infertility journey. And I realized, having irregular cycles my entire life, that pretty much every tool or solution available on the market was designed for a woman who has a 28-day cycle. And so I'm a data scientist by training. That being said, I started collecting as much data as I could, and I realized the piece of information missing from my data set was what my hormones were doing, because that dictates every phase of a woman's life and every day of her cycle. And so I set out to solve that problem. I realized women had a huge gap in their knowledge base. They also many don't even understand why they have a period and what the menstrual cycle is for. And so I wanted to change that, really fill that knowledge gap with data and not just blog posts or content. So we built this at-home testing platform that measures critical female hormones. At the moment, we measure progesterone, luteinizing hormone, and estrogen quantitatively over the course of 15 to 20 days. And we help women navigate their trying to conceive journey, as well as perimenopause, which is a huge black hole when it comes to information, data, and just the knowledge out there.
Knowledge is power. This is so practical and this is so innovative and yet so simple. Now, hormone health has a huge impact on overall well-being, yet it's still kind of taboo to openly discuss. But Oova is making it easier for women to have that data on their hormonal cycles in the palm of their hands. But how do you see Oova helping to break the stigma surrounding hormonal changes? Because there's a lot of stigmas and misinformation, particularly around menopause.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of stigma stems from misinformation and just not knowing, right? So we're actually starting this movement, and I'm wearing a shirt I can show you. It says, "I am hormonal, ask me why." And the reason is because we are all hormonal, and it doesn't have to be a stigma. It doesn't have to be like, "Oh my God, I'm off today. I'm hormonal. Leave me alone. Leave me in a closed room for the day." There's a reason behind it. And if we can actually put some science behind it and educate women and the community. It's not just about women. I often say my husband is a lot more regular than I am because he has cycles that are so much more frequent and you can predict what his mood's going to be. It's not just a female issue. And so we really want to start this conversation about why we're hormonal, what these hormones are doing, what the purpose of them are, and then either be better prepared or at least like own the fact that yes, I am hormonal because of this phase. I'm in perimenopause, my hormones are out of whack, and I understand why.
It's so exciting to think about how accessible hormone tracking is and is empowering women to take control of these crucial health changes. So good job. Now I'm going to hand this off to Dr. Daisy because I know she has some questions for Lana. Take it away, Dr. Daisy.
Yes. Hi, Lana. Can you tell us about some of the research-backed results you've observed with CO2 lift carboxy therapy, especially in wound healing and regenerative space?
Yes, we have spent a lot of money or resources into doing clinical studies because we feel that it gives not only our physicians the confidence to refer to their patients, but also for their patients or customers to be able to know that this is going to help. So some of the things we just completed a study on skin microbiome. We're seeing that it reduces senescence. We're looking at also what it's doing for type 1 and type 3 collagen. We did a wound healing study. We saw in our a pilot study that we can actually close a non-healing diabetic ulcer in as little as 8 days. We then did another one on a larger study on diabetic ulcers, and those 6 months non-healing wounds closed within a month. We just completed another one with profusion studies as well as venous ulcer studies, and again, the results are remarkable. So we have, and of course, with with wound healing, there's a place for in aesthetics, because if something is able to quickly close a wound, then we can know what it's doing for our skin in terms of reducing the effects of aging everywhere on our body.
And I want to piggyback off that. So when you talk about the vulva rejuvenation treatment, this is an application that you insert similar to the way you would insert a tampon, right? Can you explain to me what those effects are?
Okay, so as we age, the aging affects, as we know, more than just the skin on our face and our neck. Our vulva loses, the microcirculation slows down, and so blood flow slows down to our pleasure area, our clitoris. And so that can actually atrophy. And so women experience less sensitivity during sex. Also, the skin inside of that tissue is as thin as the skin under our eyes. It's very thin and dry. So women eventually experience dryness, and then which leads to painful sex. So all those things decrease our pleasure, as well as the fact that because as we were just talking about with hormones, we experience even not only dryness and sensitivity, but even our pH can be thrown off, and so women are more susceptible to infections. So the CO2 lift V is very effective at rebalancing pH, regenerating that tissue very quickly. We've seen in the biopsies after just 10 treatments how that tissue is really thick and nice, as well as women in both our double-blind clinical studies show increase in orgasm, sensitivity, pleasure.
I love it. This is all data driven and scientifically backed and clinically researched and verified. Good job, Lana. Now, Dr. Amy, I'm going to pivot to you. As a scientist, you know how essential data is to understanding trends in female health. That's your entire ethos of your company. Yet there's still a significant gap in menopause and perimenopause research. So how does Oova contribute to filling these gaps? And how can data-driven insights really transform the way women approach menopause?
Well, we're in a really unique position because the data set that we have is unmatched, right? We're talking about 15 to 20 days of hormone measurements across multiple cycles across thousands and thousands of women. The only way to get data like this was to have patients come in every day for blood work. And we're doing this without any sort of invasive treatment. It's all done through urine, but you're getting so much information. Last month or in September, we actually presented our first piece of perimenopause research at the Menopause Society conference, where we showed an amazingly strong correlation between estrogen levels and the quality of sleep that women were experiencing. So we always think about perimenopause as symptom management, but there's a hormonal underlayer that we have to treat. There's a reason these symptoms are happening, and it has to do with the hormonal imbalance. The problem is no one understands that hormone imbalance. So we're really trying to be at the forefront of educating not only the consumer, but also the medical community on what these hormonal imbalances look like, so we can start getting to the root of the problem.
So innovative. And I imagine having concrete data like this can make a real difference for women navigating the complexities of perimenopause and menopause, because like you said, now you have actual proof in your hands and you can plan accordingly. Dr. Daisy, I know you have more questions for Lana.
Lana, I know with the CO2 lift, it's a fantastic option for women. You don't have to have a medical condition to use it, by the way. So what are some of the feedbacks you've received regarding this product?
Oh my goodness! Just this past weekend, I was at in the meeting in Miami, the Global Aesthetic Conference, and we just had some of the doctors who are also experiencing, for instance, lichen sclerosis. Well, who came over and just were just raving at how this has helped, but also too with surgery, labiaplasties, how they recover faster. But I think what is very special to me is just my own experience. It has totally changed the game for me, because even when I thought of the idea, because of the history of what CO2 lift was doing for other parts of the body, and recognizing what some of the symptoms that I was experiencing in my late 40s, I thought this could be a good solution. And of course, that's how the research started on that. And so now we're able to help thousands of women to experience better relationships with themselves and their partners.
Your approach is not only about confidence, but about changing the way women feel and talk about their intimate health, Lana, which I think is game changer, because nobody's really doing that. I know, Dr. Daisy, you have a question for Dr. Amy as well, right?
Yeah, Dr. Amy, how do you see Oova impacting the future of hormonal health management, especially at home tracking?
What patients, I believe, are now demanding is they want more immediate and at-home care. So Oova is really meeting them where they need it. And we're giving them the same accuracy as a blood test, but done through urine. You get your results within seconds. And the best part is your clinician can view the data in real time as well. Our entire system is HIPAA compliant to really aid in that two-way conversation. Now, the other piece is that because we're doing this hormone data, not only do we just provide values to an end user, when you think about a blood test, you get your report, all you get are values saying high, low, in range. That doesn't really tell you too much. With us, we're actually educating women on what these levels mean. How does this impact you? How does it help you achieve your health goal, whatever that may be? And I think what it's helping to do is really instill a way for a patient to go into her doctor's office with targeted questions, not just asking the doctor to educate them on what their data means, which I think a lot of physicians are put in that position to just give their patients a medical lesson. The patients are now coming in with targeted questions. My estrogen is really fluctuating a lot. It doesn't look balanced with my progesterone. What can we do? It's not, what does this mean? What can we do? And then the other big piece that I think we're doing is we're helping patients feel validated. And we hear this from our users a lot, that they feel off. When you go to a doctor and you say, I don't feel like myself, that is very hard to treat. But now if I'm able to show you hormone data over the course of multiple months, and you have symptoms tied to it, these are pieces of information that a doctor can truly treat. So patients are feeling incredibly validated with the information they're receiving and the answers they're able to get.
Wow, you guys are definitely brilliant minds, all three of you. And that brings me to ask Dr. Daisy some important questions. So Dr. Daisy, what has been your biggest motivator in pioneering a hybrid practice model that combines both cosmetic surgery with OBGYN expertise?
I think this panel just highlight why I do what I do. On one hand, you have an aesthetic application, which is also medical with CO2 lift. On the other hand, you have a medical background with Oova. So my idea of pioneering this was just to make medicine, or at least women's health, a complete unit. A woman is a whole unit. So we should not section and treat one section without neglecting the other. So I really wanted to approach this with the idea of bringing everything together in a comprehensive care for the woman. That way she feels heard in her health, in her wellness, in her beauty, because we walk around with those three aspects of us entirely as one.
That's a great answer. And what advice would you give to other women looking to redefine their industries, especially in fields that blend, wellness and aesthetics?
Oh, the first thing is you have to stay resilient. Whenever you have a purpose, you want to be grounded in it, and while you're pioneering it. So stay resilient, seek out network of others that have similar opinions, it may exist or not, and just continue working at it. Eventually, you'll have a community that believe in your concept, and this concept is going to morph into something that's really helpful to the masses. So staying resilient, staying on course, and not feeling
sort of like fallback if you're just alone going in this process. I know when I started obstetrics and gynecology and cosmetic surgery, I went to medical school to do this in 1998. It was unheard of. And in fact, when I mentioned it during medical school residency, I got a lot of no. I never got a yes. And here we are in 2024. Both of them are easily being blended. And we have great panelists here showing how easy it is that both of them work well.
Amazing. Well, what an inspiring conversation today. A huge thank you to you, Lana, and Dr. Amy, and Dr. Daisy for joining us and shedding light on such vital aspects of women's health and wellness. And for those who want to learn more, you can definitely visit their respective websites. But I want to send you both, all three of you, off with an incredible farewell. You are so inspirational and truly proprietary products that all three of you women and services have created. So I'm very proud to have had you on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode and thank you for listening. Video recording of this episode will be featured on our YouTube channel, Dr. Daisy Ayim. We are also found on Instagram at Polish Beauty Podcast or at Dr. Daisy Ayim. Remember, new episode drop every Wednesday, so stay tuned. Please like, share, follow.